So in this tutorial I'm going to cover the basic steps for setting up your orthographic sketches, which you've scanned in and isolated in Photoshop, for bringing those into SolidWorks so that you can start working with them in a 3D view. So I've got a new part here, and the orthographic sketches that I have are just for the simple sketches for the side and top. So I'm going to start with the side view here. I'm going to select my right plane, click the normal orientation, so I'm viewing it head on, and then I'm going to start a sketch. And you may not have this sketch feature already available in the toolbar, so let me just show you how to get that if it's not there. Go up to your Tools menu, Customize, and under Commands, these are all the commands in SolidWorks which you can drag to the various toolbars. And so I'm going to go to Sketch, and the Sketch Picture command is here. So let's say I didn't have this here before. I could just take this and drag it up to my Sketch toolbar so that it's one of the tools I have available up there. So again, the command we want is Sketch Picture, and what this does is it allows you to take a bitmap that you have on your computer and put it into the sketch as kind of a background drawing. So we're going to click that. It's also available in the menu here. Let's see, Tools, Sketch, Tools, and you can't see it on the screen here, but it's down at the bottom, Sketch Picture. Anyhow, Sketch Picture, it'll give you an open dialog box. I'm going to select my side drawing. Select Open. Okay, so the first thing you notice is that it's huge, because I had scanned it in, I think, at 300 dpi, which is going to create, let's see, it looks like it's defaulting to being 624 millimeters high, which is, half a meter high, which is way bigger than we want. So the first step we have, let me back up. The first thing we want to do is rotate this, because we're supposed to be looking at a side view, and the top plane is going like this, so I want it to actually be rotated 90 degrees. So I'm going to go over here and rotate the picture. Okay, that ended up rotating it in the wrong direction, so I'm actually going to do 270 instead, which is 360 degrees minus 90 degrees to rotate in the other direction. Whoops. Let me get back into the 270. Okay, so that's more like what we want. All right, so in order to scale the sketch picture correctly, I'm actually going to get out of the sketch picture. I'm still in the sketch itself. I'm still in the sketch mode, but I'm not editing the sketch picture itself at this point. And I'm wondering what I'm going to do is just draw a rectangle that approximates the size of the part that I'm going to be modeling. So let me just do this. And when I did this sketch, I figured that maybe the remote control was about 6 centimeters long total. So what I'm going to do is use my dimensioning tool to dimension this rectangle so that it's about that long. So 6 centimeters would be 60 millimeters. So obviously the rectangle is far too large at this point. So I'm just going to type in 60 here. And then clearly it's too tall, so I'm going to get out of my dimensioning tool and get about the aspect ratio that I want. So that's how big the side sketch should be, approximately. So now that I have this rectangle as a guide, I'm going to double click on my sketch picture, which allows me to edit it, and making sure that locked aspect ratio is checked, meaning that I can't distort the sketch in one direction or another. I'm just going to drag it in so that it's about the same size as the rectangle. I'll zoom up here, and I'm going to position it so that the width is about right, or the length. So that's looking pretty good. I'm not so concerned with the height, because the height is going to be defined by the width, really. By the length. if I have the length at 6 centimeters, that it turns out the height is going to be, well, this much. So we can, the positioning looks okay there. Let me just think about, actually I think I want to position the sketch so that the fattest part is on the z-axis here. So I'm going to position it up like this. This will make more sense when we go and edit the top view. Okay, so that looks fine. And then the height of my rectangle really doesn't matter. It's more the width that I was concerned with, but I could do this. Let's get my dimension back up where we can see it. Okay, so let's leave the side view alone for now. Let's exit this sketch, and I'm going to name this sketch Side Ortho. And you can see under this sketch picture 1 is actually the bitmap that I had imported in. Okay, so that's what the side view looks like. Now let's do the top view, which is going to be on the top plane here. Again, I'm going to start a sketch on the top plane, select my view normal to it, select my sketch picture command, and I'm going to bring in the top view. So again, this is extremely large. Zoom out, try to get this back down to the size that I want. Now I can see, oops, I can see my side view. This rectangle is still visible, and that's going to help me size the top view as well. So just to make this a little easier to see, I'm going to sketch another rectangle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this point on the top of the side rectangle intersects with the midpoint of the top edge of my new rectangle. So I'm going to use a midpoint relation to do that. And then I just need to make sure that the origin here, the bottom, intersects with the bottom edge of my rectangle. So either midpoint or coincident will work here. I'm just going to do coincident. So now what I have is another rectangle that kind of defines the length of my top view in this direction, and then the width will be determined by the ratio of the length to the width. So again, I'll double click on my sketch here. I'm going to bring it over. I can still see the center construction line on my original sketch, so I'm going to line that up with the center of the sketch here, putting it on the origin. Looks like it needs to be a little smaller. Okay, that looks about right. And then just to see how wide my piece is going to be, I'm going to bring the rectangle in, and then I can use my dimensioning tool. So it looks like it's, let's just call it an even 31 millimeters. Looks like with a height, with a length here of 6 centimeters, the width is going to be just over 3 centimeters. Okay. So now I've got both the top and let me finish up my top sketch here. I'm going to exit the sketch, and I'm going to rename it to Top Ortho. Okay. So excuse me. Now I've got these sketches in place that can provide a guide for when I'm actually starting to draft out the 3D model. Now, one thing to notice is it's can be, if I were to start modeling here, the sketch would actually start obscuring what I'm trying to work on. So one last thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to each of these sketch pictures, double click on the first one, and I'm going to add some transparency. So down here in the transparency options, there's several options here. The quickest and most useful for this purpose is going to be full image. And I'm just going to select about 80% transparent. So it allows me to see through the sketch. I'll do the same thing with sketch picture 2 here. Full image. Set the transparency up to 80. Okay. So when I start modeling now, I'll be able to see better what I'm doing. Now, if I had a front or back sketch, I could use the same procedure, and I'd probably choose to put it on the front plane here. In this case, I'd only have the top and side sketches, so that's not, orthographic sketches, so that's not necessary.